I have 1,000 hit points and maximum charisma. You cannot slay me, Kyle. And then I took over the kingdom of Nepharnia. And I had my bride, who was also the girl I had a crush in on high school, and now I'm 45. This week, we're talking about Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games in general, I'm sure. This is No Accounting for Taste, and it's hosted by two guys who hadn't heard of punk rock, probably would have gone that way.
Hal, you're good with words. You know that, man?
I think the gym is dumb.
Did Rachel walk in the room? Of course I'm eating a Baconator.
Man, if you ain't doing CrossFit, you can get crossbuff.
You're right. A long burger's not the worst idea I've ever heard.
That's your sitcom right there as a Mr. Fix-It-All who just can't fix his heart.
We will not be defending Atlantic City.
No accounting for taste. If it's something that somebody loves, let's try and celebrate it instead of shitting on it. What is that noise?
Yeah.
It says goblin questioning. I don't know why you hate my noises so much.
Play it again.
Okay.
Oh, now I hear it, yeah.
That's goblin. That's
Oh.
it's goblin's training.
Sounds like a cat wrestling out of dry shit. Oh, God. I'm taking my headphones out for a second.
Why? No, this is the whole first segment. This is it.
Oh.
We're going right into it.
Oh.
Shane, have you used the D&D name generator?
I have not.
I like that it has gender, as if you could tell the difference of what any of these names are.
Okay. So, how does it work?
Well, it's a D&D name generator. You pick your gender.
Male.
Pick male. You put the first or last name or both. I put both. And I chose a half elf because I feel like I'm 5'8", so that's not like a total elf, but
yeah, maybe dwarf because you have a beard. Maybe dwarf because you have a beard, though.
I don't know any of this stuff, man.
Okay.
I know nothing about Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, we get it. You're cool, Kinane.
No, I'm not. It's not like I was doing cool shit. I look back on high school and like I don't know what I did with my free time.
Yeah, I don't know what I did with my free time today. Yeah,
Well,
it's free. They call it free time because you never regret not using it.
You recorded a podcast with a half elf named Merden van der Hagen.
Merden van der Hagen of the Kukalor tribe?
Halfling, Cade Trill. My gnome name is Colmar Blimph.
Yes.
Dwarf name, Valdi Mountain Hall.
Okay.
My half orc name, Sark Dummick.
By the way, Valdi Mountain Hall sounds like a band you would make me listen to when we're on the road together.
All of these do.
Yeah.
My human name, it has a human option, and it's still Eisenbartus Jaspers. It should just be like...
Eisenbartus Jaspers is a New Orleans judge.
I wish it was just like Carl. Like, that's your human name.
All
Eisenbartus.
Honorable Eisenbartus Jasper in the 4th Circuit District of Louisiana.
This is the college football sketch from Key and Peele. My elf name is Tessarion Eruian. Tessarion? That's pretty tight.
It is pretty sick. Can you type in mine?
Dragonborn name, Ferkaroth Yalduash. And a tiefling. I don't know what any of these are, but I know what that one is the least. Kazrakir Wintermere.
Kazrakir Wintermere, who gives a good goddamn. If it rhymes, it's easy to be made fun of. I want to see mine. I want to find my name in the generator.
It's not like I put my name in there. It just gives you a name. It doesn't give. You don't put your name in. It's not translating. It's not real.
Yeah, but I would still like. If you're doing it, I want to do it, man.
I'll do it. I'll do it for you.
Hey,
What do you want to be?
Why,
you want to be
why are you casting a spell of disinclusion on me? Like, was that supposed to be a spell?
It just sounds like somebody dropped a piece of fencing.
Yeah, do my name.
It's not. It's not your name. It's just you pick. You want to be a man or a woman.
Make me a woman.
All right, you're a lady.
Okay.
You want your first name or your last name or both?
Just my last name.
Just the last name. Do you want to be a human, half orc, dwarf, gnome, halfling, half elf, dragonborn, or tiefling? This tiefling ass bitch.
I would like to be an orc.
Half orc.
Half orc.
Can't be full orc. Your name is just... Oh, it's because it's last name. Horthor. That's it. It's Horthor.
Mr. Horthor.
Yeah, the Mrs. It's Mrs. Horthor to you.
It is. It's Dr. Horthor. I didn't spend 7 years at orc medical school to be called.
Hold on. Let me see the first name now. It's Miss Horthor. Huru if you're nasty.
Oh, right. Forgot.
Is this your most experience with this subject now?
Yep. This is the most I've ever learned about it. I never even knew it was happening in high school.
Yeah.
My brother played, but we weren't allowed to play. I remember trying to play, but he wouldn't let me.
He probably thought you were going to be mean to him.
I mean, I probably would have.
Okay, well, then
but
he was
also,
right to
isn't
not let
like
you play.
you take it so seriously that if somebody's kind of dicking around, it screws up the whole thing.
Yeah, like I have played it.
Okay, good. Okay,
right.
fill us in, man.
Okay, well, what I played was a role playing game called GURPS. Which I know. The story's only gonna get worse. So I'm
what
just
were
gonna
the roles?
You're about to find out, buddy. I was a samurai. No. First of all, GURPS stands for Generic Universal Role Playing System. Okay, and I started playing it. I did not play for long, but definitely played a few times. I started playing it in a Denny's on Hewlin Street. We would go hang out in Denny's because that's what, like just doing that thing you do when you don't want to, when you're 16 in high school and you're not going home and you're not getting drunk yet or whatever. And
It's a chance to be out.
Yeah. And there was a guy there named Chris who was a regular at Denny's and would say hi to us or whatever. And then he was like, "Do you guys want to play this sometime?" And then we were like, "Yeah." And we played for like 4 hours. And I will say this. It would, because you can do whatever in these worlds. Like there's like these things are created for you. You like, so like, I think whatever we were like bank robbers. So it wasn't like medieval, but like the idea was still role playing. We were bank robbers and we ended up anytime, and we were also 16-year-old boys in real life. So there was always like a sex scenario. Like somebody's always fighting a prostitute or met a girl or whatever. And it's just so pathetic. Fuck me. This guy, Chris, that was the guy who ran the game in Denny's, who, by the way, was probably the age I am now.
I mean, that tracks.
Yeah.
The fact that GURPS is by Steve Jackson Games just tells me how unlicensed every aspect of this game is.
Okay.
Go on. Yeah, go on.
somebody would always end up. He would describe the sex because they narrate it. Like the game master, or whatever you want to call him, narrates. He was like, and he would be like, when the sex stuff came up, he would just be like, and she's got internal muscles that'll grip down on you and make you cry. It was a lot.
There is a real horny element to this.
Yeah. Also,
God.
Charlene just told us tieflings are descended from fiends, but not in the same manner as half fiends, since a tiefling's fiendish ancestry lies further up the family tree.
I was like, what a definition to explain nothing to me.
Well, if you guys weren't such plebeians, you would know.
The knockoffs at Steve Jackson's games.
Okay, keep going.
Castle Falkenstein.
Castle.
You got Wolfenstein, we got Falkenstein. It's a real McDowell scenario over here. GURPS Dungeon Fantasy. GURPS Horse Clans. GURPS Magic. GURPS. Sounds like burps, but even weirder sounding with a G. GURPS. Humanx. Human with an X at the end. There is
I am human. What if you're like robots and you're trying to become a humax?
I want to know when they have Banestorm, which is a lot like Bone Storm from The Simpsons.
Well, we are supposed to defend this.
I'm not. Listen, It's easy. Okay, this is. They have Conan. Something tells me it's not the Barbarian. They have Conan and the Queen of the Black Coast. Conan Beyond Thunder River. Conan the Worm Slayer. Worm with a Y. Conan Moon of Blood. I am enthralled. But I don't. Okay, this explain how it's. I don't even know how it's played. I know what board games are. I know what video games are. I don't understand role-playing games and what you do.
Well, okay. So if I'm remembering this correctly, okay? So like I just want to put that caveat on there. This is what there's a storyline presented that someone has created, like the game master, right? And there are all these moments in this storyline where you need to roll the dice, and based upon the roll, you choose your options, or options are presented. So like you need to be like, there's a fire, and you need to be able to unlock this door, right? Mm-hmm. With your lock-picking skills. But based on your level of skill that your character has, with a predetermined amount of points, like say you're giving 20 points, right?
Yeah.
When you're making your character. And you want to you want them to have lock-picking skills, but you don't want to, and that takes a certain amount of points and how good you want them to be at that skill.
Okay.
So if let's say you need to pick a lock because there's a fire, and your lock-picking skill is at a 1, and on a scale of 1 to 5, so you have very low lock-picking skills, you might need to roll a higher number to be able to unpick the lock.
Okay.
Does this yeah.
I think I played something. Our pal Andrew Orvidal of the Grolics and the Grolics Save the World, and those who can't fame. I'll plug it right now. He just made this. He made a game. He wrote a game. He asked me, I'm in this game. I don't know how to play this game, but I'm in this game.
What are we even doing anymore?
What? I think it's cool. He asked if he could put me in this game. He asked if he could put me in this game as a character, and I was just flattered. I think that's awesome. But I don't know how to play these games. He's like, I'm going to send you my game. And then I got a book. A book isn't a game. How's a book a game? I don't understand this. I don't even understand it enough to dislike it.
Holy shit.
It's like we're defending string theory. I don't know what's happening. That has not
stopped you from disliking so many things.
But I don't understand any of it. And so I don't know. All I know is that it's cool because people thought it was satanic in the 80s. So that makes something cool to me.
Okay. What else?
Like metalheads were into it. Like greasy metalheads in the 80s played this.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. I like those, those heshers. So I don't know. I truly don't know. I'm like reading the stuff about it.
It is so. That's my
even the articles. I don't understand. Like, here's some of the wackiest campaigns. What's a campaign? What?
So basically, there's a dungeon master, right? And the dungeon master is the one that
Charlene is our dungeon master.
Yeah, that creates
producer. Tell me in showbiz terms so I can get it.
Producer. So there's a producer, and there are the actors, right?
Yeah.
But
The talent.
Right, the talent. There's the talent. But the script hasn't arrived. So we're just going to I'm going to give you the brief scenarios of what's happening in the scene, and you're going to decide what truly happens. And you're going to do that by rolling this 27-sided dice.
So it's improv.
Yeah, it's improv.
Dungeons and Dragons is improv.
It is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We should try to defend improv.
Well.
What? So you played one knockoff food. You played one food stamp version of Dungeons and Dragons for a couple times.
I will not have
I don't even know what's going on.
Steve Jackson's GURPS. This man is a visionary in the gaming world. He has Conan Blood Moon under his belt and human eggs.
Steve Jackson's GURPS. Look for it by name.
Where?
We're not sure. Not many
human
stores
eggs sounds like the pill
it.
you take after you had sex with somebody on Conan's Blood Moon.
When I'm feeling itchy down there, I reach for Steve Jackson's GURPS. It sounds like a training program from a guy who never made it out of minor league baseball.
It very much has like this was the program I built before Microsoft Word became a thing. Like it's like a thing that like what was that operating system Linux that people would build?
I don't have Legos. I just have blocks with only odd numbers of bumps on them that don't connect to anything else. Steve Jackson's GURPS.
They used to call me Steve Jack. Steve Jackson's GURPS is going out of business. Please come on down and roll a 6-sided die of joy at me. Let's go to a commercial break.
We got nothing for this.
I told you my experience. I think it's good.
All
right. Okay, we'll be right back after this word from our sponsor, ExpressVPN. These nerds probably use it.
Been looking up dirty stuff? Protect your online activity today with a VPN rated #1 by Business Insider. They're inside of your business. Visit our exclusive link, expressvpn.com/NAFT, and you can get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. Great deal. That's expressvpn.com/NAFT. expressvpn.com/NAFT.
Okay, well, this is the good and the bad, everybody. That's where we delve in to the positives and negatives on this week's episode about Dungeons and Dragons. I'm going to start with the good. And the good is this. 1, I think it's probably good for your imagination. Makes you think a little more creatively, maybe a little bit of storyline there. 2, it really seems to piss off Christian fundamentalists. And I'm counting that as a positive.
Again, the Satanism thing.
Yeah. So this is from chick.com. Straight talk on Dungeons and Dragons by William Schnoebelen.
Use ExpressVPN when you're looking at chick.com.
Yes. Reproduced by permissions. Dungeons and Dragons is a tragic and tangled subject It is essentially a feeding program for occultism and witchcraft. For Christians, the first scriptural problem is the fact that Dungeons and Dragons violates the commandments of whatever biblical verse. I don't know. He abbreviated it. 522, abstain from all appearance of evil. Much of the trappings, art figurines, and writing within D&D certainly appears evil, to say the least of it. So, yeah, this is some uptight Christian. This was written in like 86, maybe?
Yeah, so basically this lady, whose name escapes me, starts this group called GLAD. And it's on the topic sheet. It says what it stands for, but it's basically...
Isn't that Gay and Lesbian Alliance?
No, try again.
Different.
That was a thing.
Different GLAD?
Yeah, different GLAD. Or maybe it was bad. I don't know. Let me pull up the fact sheet.
Well, then this lady would be happy to know that apparently there's a game, like you can write your own books.
Bad.
Sorry, bad. Oh, I didn't.
The book.
Bothered about Dungeons and Dragons. That's what it stands.
Bothered about the book with that Patricia Pulling and her fellow members of Bad Brothers, bothered about Dungeons and Dragons, would hand out to people, police, pastors, parents, teachers, and librarians to help educate them about the terrible danger of Dungeons and Dragons. How uptight is your life? God.
Are you asking how uptight a fundamentalist Christian's life is?
It's just so...
If you get the word fundamentalist put in front of what you're doing, pretty uptight.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Well, then they should be happy because there's these spin-off games that are racist and homophobic.
Yeah.
So that would be like, then there you go. You're getting you're getting it answered. This is from them.us, them.us. I don't even know what this is. Is this real? I don't know. Wizards of the Coast, the publisher of such tabletop games as Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, filed its latest legal complaint against publisher TSR LLC to prevent them from selling games based on their intellectual property. Which I guess, I don't know this world. But so you could write games based on their games.
That's what somebody says when they're playing Dungeons and Dragons in a new campaign. I don't know this world.
Do you paint the little figurines?
You can.
That's
I'm
nice.
sure.
I get that.
Yeah. It's kind of it's certainly a hobbyist kind of thing. There's like a arts and crafts element to this, I'm sure.
I had a roommate that played World of Warcraft. I think it was World of Warcraft. I know it's not Dungeons and Dragons. It's online, but it's like immersive, and he was so addicted to it. Like he would get home from trips where he'd be like out with his girlfriend, and like literally his luggage would be in front of the door so he could run to his computer and play World of Warcraft. Because I know it's not the same as Dungeons and Dragons, but it's like you have your friends and your teams, and you
and it's
like
social.
Organized to like perform raids and everything. But I'd never seen like, it was like alcoholic. It was like other addictions where the guy would like,
it was in his
like I said, drop luggage in front of the door that like and leave it there for hours just because he'd been gone for 2 days. And he needed to see what was happening with. He would just stay. That's all he would do. Or he'd play on a laptop with like a blanket in the wintertime and then get up to go to the bathroom. The blanket would just be like dragged behind him to the bathroom because he'd be running to go piss and then come back. And I was like, I mean,
who was
seen other addictions, but anyway, that's just a side story about this kind of thing. That's the closest I came to knowing about this. But yeah, so anyway, this TSR company was writing games based on Wizards of the Coast, based on their games, but they're like racist and they're transgender, which, the humans are divided into Nordic and Negro races.
Oh, boy.
Wow. That's somebody sat down like, I love games because it brings us together. Anyway.
Well, I think we found the negative. I think we found the major negative sticking point of this.
There's got to be all black Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yeah. Here, I found something from Screen Rant, or Charlene. I found it. Charlene found it. I'm reading it. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to take credit for your work there, Charlene. That was weird.
Okay.
Dungeons and Dragons: 10 weirdest, funniest, and most unusual campaigns. All right, let's find an unusual one. The Ghost of Saltmarsh. When players want to create... yeah. What does it mean?
What is
you said?
this campaign?
The campaign is just the show. This is the episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm that we are going to star in now.
Okay.
And so the whole entire, like when you play from beginning to end, that's one campaign.
Okay.
And once you've completed it, then you would start a new book like Orvidal sent you, or you could also call it campaign.
It's like, you remember when Charlene and I, during the pandemic, got very into the solving murder mysteries?
Yeah.
Well, each one we solved was a campaign.
That's right.
All right.
Harmony Ashcroft, Billy Critmore. We figured them all out. That's why we were the best detectives anyone ever seen.
So somebody else,
Both.
Dungeons and Dragons isn't the same characters every time?
No. So
No.
you create your own character.
Okay.
So,
Oh, okay.
no,
But
Yeah.
then...
Yeah, I'll
What do you
create my
think-
own character. Okay.
But then do I play the same... Do I still fight an orc every time?
No, okay. So there are standard, and this is my understanding, but there's standard like Dungeons and Dragons campaigns that you could. I'm sure you've seen the books at the library and stuff when you were a kid. There's
No, I've never seen them. I don't know
than one
anything.
you have. So the book, you open the book and it's like gives you a description of what the goal is, right? So it's like, let's say the goal is to go to the Cave of the Unknown and find the Gem of Nevermore.
Charlene's good at this.
I've
Charlene's good at this.
And again, I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, but
to the Cave of the Unknown, where we must find the Gem of Nevermore.
like
The
to
witch
call
has told us so.
before we
It's
go,
actually called Hidden Valley Ranch. Is really just the cave.
What kind of character are you going to be? So now you get to choose. Are you going to be a giant? Are you going to be an orc? Are you going to be a goblin? What kind of being do you want to be?
So there's not a game board.
No, there's no board. So the person who's in charge of you, again, the director, let's say, will say, okay, in this scene, in order to get to the next step of our journey, to find the Cave of the Unknown,
For the Gem of Nevermore.
We first have to acquire a horse, and then I would lay a challenge out in front of you in order to get the horse. So that we could ride
and
there.
these so these
And that's
challenges
where you
are
roll
all
the
determined
dice.
by
Where you're
your
rolling
strength.
the dice.
Yes, the strength of your character and the points that you have acquired and what you're going to die.
Craftiness,
Okay.
charisma, yeah.
I played one game like this with Orvidal. I was confused the entire time.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You know what would
Okay.
be fun? Or maybe not fun, but
Mm-hmm.
Don't say play Dungeons and Dragons. I've avoided it for 46 years.
well, I was going to say we do that with some listeners that know what they're doing. And it's like content. It's like for the Patreon.
We're going to do a Zoom. We played it on Zoom. That's how we played it.
Yeah, I think it would be fun if we knew what they were doing. Yeah.
Well, all right. So,
and you kind of like, I will say, I remember, like Charlene was saying, like, you need to get a horse. So, and let's say you need to be able to steal the horse. Some people will even like draw like a map of a barn that you would steal the horse from, and like be like, this is how are you going to try and get it? And like some people will add props and illustrate it to some degree, but there's not really a game board.
My brother is the dungeon master of his group, and he does all of these accents. So every character that
it's me, the dungeon master.
Exactly. It's really entertaining.
Why don't you come over here and kiss my ass, orc boy? Everything went to shit once the elves moved into the neighborhood.
The elves are the Puerto Ricans.
Because they feisty.
But my brother did make a good point, which was
They're from an island of dancing and knives.
oh no.
Sorry,
What do you mean you're dating a dwarf?
He made a good point, and it was, hold on, let me find it. Do you have a shop fact? Nope, that's not it. Part of putting yourself into other people's mindsets is all these different characters and trying to understand how they think probably helps more sheltered people be more empathetic than they would otherwise.
I do. Okay.
And so, and in combination with that, like there are a lot of people that are using it in education now. So the campaign is like, how can we be nice to everybody in our village or whatever the frick they're doing. And it'll teach you along the way, like how to be a better ally, I suppose, to people.
Okay. So that makes it awesome.
Yeah,
it's applicable.
I just never even. I heard it used as like a punchline or a catch-all for like what nerds did.
Right.
Yeah, but it's like, you mean nerds who are probably bullied in school all the time and have this whole little world to go to and do their own thing outside of that? Like I was watching the YouTube video of like it's the report from the 80s when they're trying to say that Dungeons and Dragons is related to like these teen suicides and heavy metal and Satanism. It's like,
right.
You found 12 kids who played Dungeons and Dragons
out of the millions.
Themselves. Tell me how many high school Tell me how many high school football seniors that didn't get a scholarship also found the same fate. Are we keeping those numbers? Right. Or is this just a hot button story because it's weird and people don't understand it?
Agreed.
So now with that explanation, Charlene, that's shit. Maybe I got to start playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I mean,
probably not, but maybe.
Okay.
Well, maybe for the Patreon. You guys let us know. Give us a ring. 971-259-8302. ExpressVPN. Whatever. Well, and I know it's called, this is another thing, I know it's called Dungeons and Dragons, but the whole role-playing world is like, there's different universes. Not everything is Lord of the Rings. Some of it might be Heat. Like you could be a bank
That's what
robber.
I didn't understand. Some of it might be GURP.
Yeah.
Some of it might be Steve Jackson's GURP. You might be playing
generic universal role-playing system. It's applicable.
You might be playing Grease, not the musical, the country.
You just run a diner with your family?
That's it.
What is that?
We got everything. What do you want? Open-faced turkey sandwich? Euros?
No cold coffee, only hot coffee. I miss old John Belushi, the cheeseburger.
You could play SEALs in Vietnam. That is SEALs as in Navy SEALs in Vietnam. That is
SEAL, the soul singer has gone to war.
No, that is
possible in this universe because it's a generic universal role-playing system.
There's some guys on the streets downtown that are playing that game and nobody realizes it. Social engineering, back to school. Sounds fun. Okay.
I think before we get over to the colors, I do want to say I think that there's the positive in it that I would take from it is one, it pisses off fundamentalist Christians who are idiots. Two, I think with it showing you it can show you how to problem solve, and then maybe you can apply that to a real world situation. And three, I think it's probably good for the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
I
as
knew
far as
this
the bad
had to
goes, they're pretty racist, apparently. Which is usually the problem with most things we tackle on this.
Yeah.
I knew this had to be part of it.
Go on.
D&D sex, 5 tips for RPG romantic encounters as a DM.
You know that's not a direct message, that's a dungeon master.
I got that part.
Okay.
Consent is number 2. What's number 1?
No.
What's appropriate for game? Number 2 is consent. Number 3, what do you do when D&D sex feels awkward? It feels awkward reading this article. When things get story inappropriate, fade to black. I thought this was going to be sexier. Somebody has to have written an all.
Did you really think it would be sexier?
Yeah, I googled horny Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, well, get the ExpressVPN. That's expressvpn.com.
Well, somebody wrote, like, now I just want to know what the most vile Dungeons and Dragons. We already heard there's racist ones, but there's got to be just consensual fuck dungeons.
Consensual fuck dungeons.
Right?
Okay. They're called bedrooms.
Yeah, not all dungeons have to be below ground. Somebody wrote a horny D&D supplement book. They're on Reddit. Of course they are. I am not I wish I clicked the button for ExpressVPN before I started reading this.
They're getting their money's worth out of us. ExpressVPN/NAFT, NEFT for your discount. We would,
okay.
If we retain this sponsor, it's a record.
Found it. Okay.
Okay, go on.
Fatal. This is on Wikipedia. Fatal. An acronym of fantasy adventure to adult lechery.
Oh. Yeah. Give Daddy a snack and let's go to the callers. Let's hear it, Kinane.
Fatal's reception has been overwhelmingly negative. Its most famous review is that by McLennan and Sarton. Some other reviews have refused to cover it due to both its content and to the degree to which that other review overshadows other attempts. Oh, wow. It's bad. Okay, this isn't a consensual one. It has the enduring legacy as one of the most poorly received and controversial role-playing games ever released. Okay, all right. So something like that is out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to go to a ad break and then just get into the callers because I feel like we're going to be, I think we're going to be pretty rich with some commentary. How many calls did we get on this, Charlene? 10,000?
No, we got 7.
Pretty close.
Let's hear them. So I've been busy researching myself. All right.
We'll be right back after this ad from our sponsor. I bet you can guess who it is.
Is it
ExpressVPN?
I'll tell you what, Shane, I use ExpressVPN because sometimes I travel overseas, even some countries where they don't like you looking at stuff, but you still want to look at stuff, but they won't let you look at the stuff on account of their internet is real restricted. That's where ExpressVPN comes into play. That's why, even when I'm at home, I never go online without it because I don't trust that incognito mode. Incognito, they're still just looking at it, Shane.
ExpressVPN is an app that reroutes your internet connection through their secure servers so your ISP can't see the sites you visit. ExpressVPN also keeps all of your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data, 100% with the most powerful encryption available. Most of the time, I don't even realize I have ExpressVPN on. It runs seamlessly in the background. It is so easy to use. All you have to do is tap one button and you're protected. ExpressVPN is available on all your devices, phones, computers, even your smart TV, so there's no excuse for you not to be using it.
Protect your online activity today with the VPN rated #1 by Business Insider. Visit our exclusive link, expressvpn.com/NAFT, and you can get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/NAFT. expressvpn.com/NAFT to learn more.
You look at weird stuff on the internet and you don't want anyone to know.
I look at what I want to look at.
Woo! What an ad from ExpressVPN.
Hot stuff.
Nice. For the remainder of the show, I have decided I will go into my D&D character's voice.
Oh?
Yes. you. Do not cast spells on me, witch. I made boom boom in my crap tank.
Okay, so this first voicemail gets into the gossip. Like, this person is deep in Dungeons and Dragons and starts talking about some of the. I just titled it gossip because I probably didn't know what he was talking about. So here we go. I think it talks about that court case.
Okay. Hey everybody, this is Mike from St. Louis.
Hey, Mike.
So, Dungeons and Dragons has recently kind of dealt with some sort of, upheaval within the fan base just because they tried to pull some very predatory practices in the intellectual property space of it. It's a very complicated and convoluted thing. Ended with actually them conceding the intellectual property to the fans. Like, this is something that has rarely ever happened. Like, to illustrate how rare it happens, like, when microtransactions were a thing, EA, Blizzard, all those companies, they just pushed forward. And I think it's partially because D&D has a smaller fan base, but it's a far more vocal one. And we've already been dealing with microtransactions in video games for long enough that we realize we don't want to deal with this anymore. And there's also the fact that the company Wizards of the Coast is a subsidiary of Hasbro. And so it's just a corporate truckery all the way.
Pause it, please.
That being...
He's talking about the dark wizard who lives in the tower, the great and evil Hasbro. Please keep going.
Being said, Brian Posehn, he calls it nerd poker.
Famous nerd.
You and your buddies getting together. And Kyle, I feel like you would like it just because you did, you worked on improv, at Columbia College. Like, a lot of this is just improv.
It's too much.
Pause it now.
Thing that you do.
Pause it now. I only rolled a 6, and now my best friend has betrayed me. What is this improviser you speak of?
I took a college class. I didn't perform.
You mean you took a campaign at the Great School of Book?
Is this the kind of shit you do if you play Dungeons and Dragons? You got to stay in this character for 4
Play
hours?
what? This is life. Don't say the word play to me when you were an improviser, whatever that is.
Sorry, who?
Why don't you go play joke? That's like the thing where that's like the thing where you guys you're like, man, I ran out of apples. Somebody go get one so we can make this pie.
Sorry, Brinjaw, Ironjaw.
Lord Ironjaw, please continue.
Okay, here's the next message.
To sum up my thoughts on
it's the same guy. Sorry.
Good.
Of role-playing games. Companies are not your friends. Your friends are your friends. And so long as you guys, like to get around, pretend to be orcs and roll dice, there will always be role-playing games. Love you guys. Love the shows. Can't wait to see you in St. Louis. All right, bye.
Yes. Thank you for your call. He's right. Companies are not your friend. This has been brought to you by ExpressVPN. Get 3 months off of a year subscription if you enter the code NAFT.
You know what I'll say, though? Let me get this out real quick. One company that is my friend. I was the battle at the helm of the war, and it was dawn. And this fucking orc, you know what he did? This motherfucker. Everybody's flying around. I get it's crazy. It's war. We're all running into each other. It's not really strategical. It's more of a brute force thing. This fucking orc hits me in the back with his chaos sword, right? and my back was fucked. I made it through, and you know what? I ran my Shebogan knife right into his fucking fat forehead and tasted his blood, and then I had his wife and children serve my fields. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Had a lot of back pain after. He hit me with his chaos bat, right? So I got addicted to Oxycontin for the pain.
Oh
and the Sackler family, that company, Purdue Pharma, they're all right. Just want to say one company that is your friend.
That was a ride.
No, it was a campaign.
It was a camp. Everything's a campaign. It's all campaigns now. Oh, all right. Let's get a.
Here's the next one.
Roll that dice.
This is Joe from Southern Oregon. For me, D&D is fucking rad. I've been playing since I was 16. It's about 20 or so years, and it's great. It's like it's collaborative storytelling. It's it's imagination. It's chance. It's just a good time. I've played giants and paladins, and now I'm playing a green ooze that thinks he's a cowboy, and it's just a fucking blast. I look forward to it every week, and yeah, it's accepting of everybody. Everybody can play, and you can be whoever you want. What's not to like? So yeah, I just want to say, love you guys. Meow meow meow. And yeah,
meow meow.
Bye bye.
Yeah, it's no different than bowling. Look forward to it every week.
You can't be gay when you play. How long does it take to play a campaign? Months?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to, but you can play sections of a campaign.
Oh, so that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So does it depend on which book you're playing? You could play smaller ones.
Mm-hmm. And there might be a certain objective within the campaign. Like to get this horse. How are you gonna get this fucking horse? I'll tell you how. You go in there. you go in there.
He's just Lemmy. All you're doing is Lemmy.
That guy kicks ass. You go in that barn. You see that horse. You're gonna be nice.
Anytime you want to roll a call out right now.
I tell you, roll a dice out right now.
Stop looking at me through your eyebrows, man.
That's how Chaos Warriors see. Everyone knows that. I'm chaotic neutral is my alignment.
Here's the next message.
You have the beard of a farmer and the soul of a woman.
As for D&D, I was never subjected to it as a child. I never knew anyone that really did it. However, as a 27, 28-year-old, I had some friends from work that did it, and we had a great time. Honestly, it was one of the most fun times I've had. So I would say you got to be sure to have a good dungeon master, and then also a good tight-knit group of friends, or at least people to get along, and will make rational decisions, and then you'll have a great time. So, thanks.
I don't like that at first he said subjected as a child. We're not the Catholic Church.
They're the opposite, because it leads to Satanism.
Yes, it does. Satanism kicks ass.
It does. I think it rules.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Really sticking with that voice. All right.
Yeah, man. 4 more calls to go. What are these calls you speak of?
The next one.
If you've never gotten high and drunk and played Dungeons and Dragons with some friends, when you've got a true dungeon master, if you don't mind me being a fucking dork, oh my god, it's so much fun. Anyways, thanks guys, you're great.
Another positive one. Can't believe we haven't heard from a woman yet.
Hey, Charlene's the one who's knowing more about this than either of us.
That's very true. What's your coven, whore?
Oh, God.
She's doing us a favor, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Have you unsheathed your lady knife? I'm about to whip out my GURP.
Oh.
There's 2 voicemails left.
Calls are like prayers from the future.
So Dungeons and Dragons is just wizard poker. Okay, bye. Good night.
Can we call him back to make sure he's all right? That's definitely. Anyway, I just took a bunch of pills. Gonna take a nap.
He would have been the first to perish in the sea of snakes.
Here's the last message.
Oh, the final roll.
Hey, Kyle, Feline, Kinane, and Shane, Tabby Cat Torres. I'm in my mid-30s. My buddies have been playing it. I kind of actually enjoyed it. I hopped on a couple of games or missions or quests with them. They said there was no pressure. Just come in. We'll make a side character for you. You come in. I thought it was real fun. Probably like kind of good like team building exercise because everyone has different, skills.
We're hearing a lot of that.
Together to, beat the dungeon master who's normally like either the biggest dork or asshole in the group because he's just always trying to put forks in your road and mess all your shit up. I think it's pretty good.
Tell me about it.
Like a bunch of 30-year-olds get together around a dinner table one night and, each have a 6-pack and, yell at each other about dragons and shit.
I like that he likes meat.
And everybody else, so. Yeah, all right. Kitty cat out. Back.
Kitty cat out.
What number do you roll to not get a DUI on the way home from your Dungeons and Dragons game?
A DDD and DUI. Oh, that's what we call them. I got one of those once, and my protection spell didn't save me inside the big house.
I don't even know enough to make jokes like that.
I was forced into sexual trafficking.
Those are regular words. That has nothing to do. Those are words from the real world that are bad.
They are. And I feel bad that I made the joke.
Oh, you can roll a die that makes you forget can you roll a memory erasing spell? Can't believe I'm talking like this. Fuck.
Oh, yes, you can. You're already in.
You just sound like me. You sound like when people do impressions of me, and I'm like, I don't sound like that.
No, I'm not talking about chili cheese fries. That's you.
Do they have those? Do you have? Can you get those?
Yeah. Why do you think everyone who plays this game's skin looks so bad?
Probably because you sit at Denny's for a third of the day.
That's true. A moon's over Miami, Miami. Wowza. I am riffing. This seems like a game Rachel would like.
I don't know about that.
She's imaginative. Someone's calling me. I don't know what that is. I'm from the pre-war world or whatever.
Are you Ebshun Blackstrand? That's a pretty tight name. I'm back to the name generator. I don't know.
That sounds like a Polish metal guitarist.
They all sound like Polish metal guitarists.
Sick as fuck.
All right. Final thoughts. This is probably cool. I can't listen to you do this voice anymore.
Come on, Kyle. Listen to me do the voice. What are you talking about?
AirPods already feel like knives in my ears.
Yeah, well, Charlene's over here doing sound effects the whole goddamn time.
Oh,
yeah, that was a dog's death rattle.
That was anybody who was anybody who was almost going to call on the single Shane hotline 971-259-8302.
No chits this week.
No, of course not. D&D stands for Dicks and Dicks. That's what it stands for.
2 things real quick before we go.
That's okay.
1, I would love to know if it's one of the listeners that sent me this I fuck on the first date t-shirt, which it has to be. I think I would love to know who it was so I can say thank you. So call in the number 971-259-8302. Also, thanks to Ryan who came out this week to my shows in Wisconsin and made his own merch for our podcast.
Aww.
Made his own shirt and wore it. Yeah. Yeah,
that was sweet. You showed
yeah,
me
he
that.
gave
You
it to
sent me
me.
that picture.
Yeah, it was really cool. I think we can probably we'll post it to our Instagram. Yeah,
that sounds good. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, so that was so nice, and he hand wrote a bunch of new little club called the Comedy Cab. It was fun.
Okay, cool.
Good shows. Yeah, and yeah. So and thanks to everybody who came out, and then also I'm gonna keep plugging it. Special March 18th. It's a Saturday night, day after St. Patrick's Day. The Sultan Room in Brooklyn, New York. Come to the show, please, God. Don't make me.
I think it's going to go great.
Thank you. Please don't make me roll a die of sadness. Kyle, tell them where they can find you.
I'm Kyle Kinane on the internet. You're Shane is a comedian on the internet. Shane is a comedian? Is that it?
Yeah,
.com. Shane is a comedian.
And Shane Torres across all platforms.
Or
so I'm told.
Something about
he's a wizard of joke.
I'm done. I can't do it. I'm out.
Don't you dare. Stay with me. Kyle, don't slip into the deep.
Sign it off.
Okay. Here we go. This has been No Accounting for Taste. Our thanks to our producer, Charlene, the Great Covened Witch of Landamore. I have been Bert Trax, the man with an axe for a dick. And my And as always, thank you to my co-host, Meow Sword. He's cool. Tune again next week when we defend running stop signs. I didn't see it, I swear to God.